Check it out. Check me out. We back here live on the NoStoppingKev show. What it do, yo? We back to back, yo. We got the shirts in black and we got that gray. Best believe it'll make your day. Just buy one. Send me the Venmo or I take the Cash App. Best believe I'm gonna deliver that.
That freestyle now, huh?
Was that alright? That wasn't bad. Like that wasn't lit. Like that wasn't something that they like, yo, young boy can rap, but
now you gotta get a beat to go with it.
Oh, I got a couple beats.
Yeah, well then bring it on like that.
Welcome back to another episode. No, episode 14. No, that's 13. Dang, I thought I was going to nail it in one take. Welcome back to episode 13 of the NoStoppingKev show. I'm your host, Kevin Beeford, and I'm here with...
Kevin Beeford.
You sure that's your name?
Is that your name?
I mean, that's what it says on my ID, social security card, and birth certificate, so I'm gonna roll with it.
Yeah, I think it's your name.
Perfect. Who gave me that name?
Your mom.
I know, because what did you want to name me?
I told your mom to name me.
Oh, you told her to go with Kevin?
No, I ain't told her to go with Kevin.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I didn't want her to go with Kevin, but...
Oh, you saying like you told her to pick the name?
Yeah.
Why you ain't picked the name?
Huh? I ain't picked none of the kids' name.
You picked Bree's Kavan, didn't you?
Picked no names.
Yo, you suck.
I had nothing to do with none of the kids' names.
Why?
I didn't want to. I think y'all got pretty good names.
Yeah, I love my name.
Yeah.
Man, you pick. Wow. News to me. All right. Did you talk about that though before?
What?
You tell the mamas to pick the names.
Yeah.
So you communicated that.
Yeah.
Communication is very important, isn't it?
That's right.
Why you laughing?
Huh?
Why you laughing?
Because that's what you gotta do.
Nah. What we talking about today?
Communication.
Oh man, I thought, shoot, I did that wrong. We just gonna let it go. You know how sometimes you're gonna execute a joke, but you mess it up. Just know that's what just happened. So I'm gonna move on from that. But yeah, today we're talking about communication. You know when I always think about communication the most? Or not really when I think about it the most?
You're forgetting something.
What I'm forgetting, Dad?
But telling the people how they could tune in on us.
You want to tell them?
No, you tell them.
All right. I'm going to knock this out real quick. So, if you are new to this, somebody just showing it to you for the first time, they just popped it up on the screen in front of you and you're listening, check us out on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Just search the NoStoppingKev show. NoStoppingKev is all one word. I know it's a little bit different. Just don't hit the space bar, people. And also hit that subscribe button on those platforms as well as on our YouTube page. Same thing. Search the NoStoppingKev show. NoStoppingKev is all one word, people. Again, I know it's a little bit different. We're going to go with unique. But yeah. Check us out and share it. There's also sharing things are so easy in this era.
Everything easier in this era.
So if it's easy, just do it. It's like a layup, you know? Except for them breakaway joints like that one I missed. You remember?
Sometimes them the toughest one.
Yeah, I know. But you wasn't saying that night when I was asking you, like, yo, Dad, what's the hardest shot to make from time to time? You used to always say it was the breakaway layup. But on that night, you just started roasting me. So thanks. So I'm going to cook you next time you lace up. But yeah, today we're talking about communication. So back what I was about to talk about before, you know, when I kind of notice the most that like it's lacking in certain areas for some people, it's when I'm coaching. Because, you know, in basketball, what you got to do with your teammates? That was a question.
Oh, you got to communicate with them.
Yeah, and why you got to do that?
Huh?
Why you got to communicate?
Just send them in the right direction.
Send them in the right direction. Make sure y'all all on the same page, right?
Right.
And it was a little bit different for me too when I was in high school. You know, you got to kind of learn how to communicate, right?
Right.
So I had to put myself in their shoes. What was interesting was that I'm trying to remember what year was it that I was coaching. It might have been my first year, and I was big on talking on defense, especially when you get to play at a college level. Like, if you're not talking, something's wrong. Even on offense, like in high school, I didn't talk on offense as much as I had to in college, but it was just something that was pretty interesting, just the different ways you can communicate with people. But it was just like, I'm up there coaching, and, you know, we're doing our defensive drills, right? You know, position check and all that, going over shell defense. And, you know, offense is just swinging the ball around. And position-wise, it's just, you know, I'm on ball, I got ball, or I'm one away, I'm in the passing lane, right? That's things I'm expecting to hear. Somebody like, I got your help, I'm in the middle. You know what I heard when they were swinging the ball around?
What?
I was lucky if I got, like, I was lucky if I got that.
Have you got, from the other people?
Yeah, from my players that were on the floor, right? And even when we would go into, like, pass and cut, I'm like, yo, defense, why y'all not talking? And they would just all kind of look at me crazy because they might have been mumbling some stuff. But one, you got to be loud, right? Like, I got to be able to hear you.
Yeah.
Two, you know, I ended up just asking them, I'm like, is it because you don't know what to say? And then my boy, B. Rudd, he was the guy I told you about. He didn't used to go hard in practice, but he go hard in games. And I finally got him like, yo, I don't hate you. I just know you could be great. So I want you to work hard here so it translates. He was honest. He was like, yeah, I just don't know what to say. Like, what you want me to say? And so had to kind of teach him different terminologies, how to talk through, you know, defending a pick and roll. Like, if you need to call for help or switch, like how to go through, like, what do you say? So I had to just give them things you say in different positions so that they can learn how to better communicate. And it helps us through the season.
Well, you know, on defense, you really got to communicate, or you should communicate. Because, like, you need to. Because, like, you know what? Like you said, a pick and a roll. If you don't say, I'll take this man, and, you know, and then both of y'all be caught, and you got a man going to the basket.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're going. So, you know, and even though, you know, you got to say, I'm going up. I'm going back.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I remember we used to play a matchup zone when I was in college. I learned to play a matchup zone. And, like, you know, we always would start out man to man. So then sometime when the coach throw us back into the matchup, like, you know, and the people set up to run the play, and I used to mess with them, you know, because now you can take the cutter. Like, if my man, he running a play, like, against a man-to-man, and I take him through.
Oh, yeah, so you're saying y'all playing a zone, but you just follow the cutter through? Because that's usually what you look for. That's what I teach my guys. When they're trying to figure out man or zone, I'm like, yo, just go into our 5-out, just go pass and cut. If your man follows you through, they're probably playing man. But y'all had a little decoy. Y'all be in the zone.
No, that used to be me.
Mm-hmm.
I used to do that. You know, I used to do it. And then sometimes, they'll come back out and say, they're in the zone. And then that's when I would take them. When they say I'm in the zone, then I would take them through.
Mm-hmm.
And then he'll come back out and say, they in the man-to-man, and run the play for man-to-man, and we in the zone, and I just stay in the zone.
Yeah,
until they kind of figure it out.
So basically, whatever they thought you were in opposite. So how did your team know? Did they just kind of read based off of?
It was basic. It's like, that's what I'm talking about. You got to talk. Once I go through, somebody else got to fill in.
But how do you know if you're in man or zone? How did y'all make that determination?
Well, we already went, like my coach would say.
Oh, it's just like coming out of a dead ball, like timeout or something?
Or you know how you got to play. Like you say a number. Like the number 2 is zone. Number 1 is man-to-man. You know, 3 might be a 3-2 zone. You know.
Oh, that's how y'all did it? So even in your matchup, you had like a signal? It might have not been those per se, but you had like a key word to go to switch between.
But most of the time, we either played, like we started out the game in man-to-man. We always started out man-to-man, no matter what. Yeah,
and I mean, if you play a good matchup zone, that's like a man-to-man anyway.
Right,
because you matched up with guys, you know. And that was something our team, we played, in my second year of coaching, we had a pretty good matchup 2-3.
Yeah.
And I really liked it a lot. But I'm trying to think, there was something I was going to say. It's escaping me. Nonetheless, though, communication is important. But, you know, in terms of basketball, definitely just being on the same page, knowing where guys want to be. Oh, I know what I was going to say. If you're not going to communicate, right, when you got guys that don't talk on the floor, it's like they're playing. They assume everybody can read their mind, right? Which isn't the case at all.
Well, you figure too. You're probably right. And I mean, even if you're playing a pickup game, like, and you should talk.
Oh, that's why I hate playing pickup now.
You should. You should still communicate.
Like, I can't. It's hard for me to just like if I go to a random gym where guys don't talk, I get irritated. Like when I played on that Sunday league team, and nobody was talking on defense, I'm like, this ain't gonna work for me. Like, we not talking. There's no help deep. Like, what are we doing here? I'm so like I can play freely, of course, but I need to play with guys that know what they're doing, and I just can't. It's hard for me to play with guys that haven't really played organized basketball under, like, I'll say decent coaching. You know, to just know the basics of where to kind of be, how to move, to just talk like the simple things. I'm not asking for a lot.
You know what the thing is? You can really tell some people that really never played organized basketball. You could just tell. Because like you're saying, and one thing is they don't know how to communicate. They don't know how to talk. And it's just like that. You know, and like we talk about communication. And sometimes, like, you know, I look at sometimes, like, you know what, when I was young and when you was first born, you know, when you was born and I knew I was going to be a father, I used to look at people that was good fathers to try to learn something. You know, and like today in time, you can watch some parents that don't even really communicate with their kids or not even, you know what, let them do what they want to do. And sometimes then you get, like I said, you might get mad when they're not doing something, but you're not communicating nothing to them either. Now, when I'm just saying for real, if they don't clean up behind themselves, you never tried to teach them. You never tried to really even tell them that. Now you fed up when it's like that. Now you're going off. Now you want to snap at them. You want to cuss them. You want to do all like that. But, you know, if you would have been talking to them and really trying to teach them all along and try to teach them some things how to be, you know, some structure, you know.
I'll say one thing. Simply talking, you know, to a person, or I'll just say communication, is a dangerous thing. I got another basketball reference. I remember watching a video, I think when I was in high school, and KG was talking about, I forget what team it was, but he said he was playing against one team, and they were talking, pointing, you know, just doing what a defense should do. And he described it as, he was like, that beep was scary. And I was like, KG was, something scared him? Because, you know, he's like that big alpha male that tries to intimidate everyone. Like, he's a scary guy out on the court. And then when he said, yo, team just talking and pointing, and at that moment I was like, yo, this is something effective. So I sent it to my boys, like Steve and Earl. I was like, yo, watch this. Like, we got to start doing this, right? And we already was doing it to an extent. But I'm like, yo, it's time to level up on this, because it's a tool in itself. You know, you talk about a game of skill, athleticism, communication is a difference maker. And, you know, coaching at times, you know, at the end of the game, sometimes I ask the players, it's like, what do y'all think lost us the game tonight, right? Like, what could we have done better? And we used to not kill me, but it would kill my players themselves because they know something they can control. They're like, we didn't talk. And so each time someone would go step up to help and someone wouldn't slide over, or they wouldn't say you got a man behind you, they can visually picture that person just making a layup or not helping out. Oh, I didn't know that guy was there, so I didn't close out. And that sticks with you because you know all I had to do was you know, Steven, you got a man on your left or something like that, right, just so he know he's there. Right. And then, you know, the offense at times when it's loud, it's harder for them to communicate with each other and run their stuff. You throw them off. It's just an added element. So it's dangerous, which translates to other part of our lives, right? Whether it's work or in relationships with people. You know, I'm in a customer-facing role, right? I got to go out and meet with clients. And, you know, one thing my manager always says, you know, kind of stresses at times is you got to know how to talk to people. And it's not because a lot of times people on our team don't know how to talk to people. It's sometimes people we're communicating with aren't quite, they're not always the nicest. Like I had a lady, kind of go off on me on the phone. It wasn't even my fault, right? And in the moment, I'm just like, why is this lady talking to me like this? Like, I want to go up, but you keep your composure. Still killed her with kindness. You taught me that. Way to go, KB.
That's right.
But yeah, it's just something that's critical, and it's something that can translate. So I'll say that's one area that basketball kind of helped me in different parts of my life, just because you got to know how to communicate with people too. Like, what terms do they know? What, like, reaction or, like, what's your goal and what you're saying? And how, like, will it be perceived? Things like that are always important to keep in mind.
Yeah, like I say, like I said, even just like with taking in your family or something like that, or with your brother or with anybody, you still got to, because we all can help one another. And like, I mean, if we not understanding, then we got to try to make someone see. And one thing you was just saying too is when I was just talking about that was, and it made me see like another thing where even like you saying just talking, you got to do the work. You just can't tell, you can't, I'm talking, yo, take that man. But I ain't gonna do nothing to take nobody. Mm-hmm. So I mean, I gotta do some things too with my actions. I always gotta throw actions in there, because now, like when you were saying that team was pointing this out and they was talking. Now you, like you were saying, who you said, now you got something on it because you could see how it worked and how that all together. Now that's something to follow behind.
So I got two thoughts, right? One, when you talk, you said action.
Yeah.
I like to tell my guys, basically, when you're communicating in basketball, think out loud, right? Don't keep them thoughts. Think out loud. So it's like, if I tell you, yo, get there, I'm probably going to say, I got here. Because I need everybody to know who I got. And so, you talk about talking and pointing. I tell my guys, I'm like, listen, I need you to not only say it, or no, their thing is, they run down the court and they kind of point or walk towards a guy. I'm like, all right, guys, what's really going to help us is if you can do your point, you can point to them, but make it known, like, I got here. And now if everybody's doing that, right, if someone can't find somebody, it's going to be a lot easier for them because they see, okay, he's covered. All right, I got two men roaming, and now it's a lot. You start eliminating some options here, right? And I say that to say that's two forms of communication.
Right.
You said it, you gave a visual, and you kind of give multiple visuals in one. You're pointing, you're moving your body closer to someone that's easier to identify. And so sometimes outside of sport, you have to use multiple methods of communications to be effective with people, which is, very important. So some things that I always try to consider when, talking to people, and especially when I have a time to, think about it, whether it's preparing for a conversation, preparing for a meeting, responding to an email. Like I had some pretty difficult situations at work this week where I had to be very, I had to put some thought into my word choice to make sure they really understood, what I was saying at times, what I could and couldn't do, and things like that. So I always try to think about, like, what message do I want to send? And one thing that's very important is how might the person that I'm talking to receive what I'm saying? And that's something that's very important, especially in, like, personal relationships. Yeah. When you're talking to family, a significant other, just a close friend, whoever it may be, you got to think about how they might perceive it. Because you might take it in your head one way, but they can take it a completely different way. And sometimes that's just because you got to know what your listener needs, which is, like, my third thing. Know what they need, what level of detail is necessary. Because sometimes I find, like with me and Devin, I'm thinking I'm being super clear, but she needs more detail. I'm not giving her enough because I still got some stuff up in my head. I'm thinking she reading between the lines, like, all right, if I say this is implying all this, but no, she's not getting that. She wants me to spell it all out. That way, and I appreciate that because it's clear. And I'll say, sometimes, no, you don't do that for me, or I don't need that much clarity, but then I'll think back and I'm like, nah, I need her to be specific too sometimes. So I ask for the same thing. So it goes both ways, and it's all perspective,
Right. I mean, that's true, and that's good because, see, sometimes, like even us, I mean, me, like I could think I know what you're talking about, or I can assume what you're talking about, but it may not be clear, or I may not understand it the way that I should understand it. So sometimes I do need it, but sometimes, you know, my pride or whatever it is, I don't want to get more. And that's why I'm saying communication is important.
Yeah, and so my third thing was like kind of know what your listener needs, which was, you know, I'll say 3A was the level of detail was an example. The other one is kind of know word choice. Like if you have a relationship with somebody, you might be able to know like certain trigger words. You know, we talked about this before. Words that can make a person emotional or respond differently or way you wouldn't expect. But I'll say the flip side of that is clue words. So another example is, you know, based on like in work stuff, you know, I had to take like personality assessments, and I found that I can be pretty like direct person at times. I have two sides. I'm definitely very personable, at least I would like to think. But sometimes when I'm trying to get something done, or, you know, I'm focused on something, kind of like the emotional intelligence part of me shuts down sometimes, I think. That's my personal observation. So instead of asking, I'll just, case in point, I'll go, you know, I need this, or I'm going to need you to do this, instead of saying, can you do this or something. So some people might need to hear or feel like you're asking and not dictating, which is a simple fix. So kind of keep in mind the words you use, because that's very important. I mean, it seems straightforward, but something that sometimes gets, you know, overlooked.
You know, you just said something good, but you know what? And I'll take it back to, you know, like basketball, knowing your players, knowing how to get through to them. And sometimes I guess it got to be quicker for you, because if you just meet a person, you don't got a chance to know them. So I guess you got to try to get to know them quicker. You know, but and I guess like, you know what? But if you be respectful in talking to people, then you know what, you probably can communicate better with that person too.
Definitely, because
you know,
that keeps them from getting defensive. Like you feel like someone's attacking you, you're going to have your guard up. You know, I can give the example of when I'm coaching, right? So whether it's my boy Brian Rudd, who's down in Florida doing his thing, or, you know, the kid Khalil that I think he's going to be big for us this year. He's going into his senior year. You know, those are two guys who they used to feel like I just didn't like them, right? That's what their perception was. So I could point out something very small, like, you know, Khalil, I think you're not sending them. The reason you keep getting beat with the guy going right is because your left foot isn't up high enough to force him to go left, and they would take offense to it. Or if they were a little slow, and if we were running sprints and they were getting beat by bigs, if I said something about it, they thought it was like a personal attack. But it's like, no, for me, it's like, I know you can be far better than this. Like, I see the potential there. I'm just trying to pull it out. Like, I actually care about you.
Yeah.
But in order to get to that point, we had to have that conversation. And once I had that conversation with them, like, to this day, going to next season, I don't have to really filter what I say to Khalil, because he knows it's coming from a good place. And, you know, like, I don't need to filter in the sense that I'm going to say something off the wall. But it's like I don't have to worry as much about word choice, because now we have that personal relationship where he knows I kind of have his best interest at heart, and at the same time he's going to give me his best out on the floor, because he knows like Coach Kev has my back, you know. So that's something that's very important. But before then, I had to know how to approach him. Like, what does he respond well to? What doesn't he respond well to? Like, I knew them guys didn't like you kind of yelling, going off. That's not their personality. So you got to know how to approach people in different situations.
You know, like you talk about that, like I was just thinking about when I played Sunny Hill. And, you know, my junior year, I started. The next year, I came off the bench. And, like, I didn't understand, how can I start when I got all Americans on the team and playing? And then the next year, I got people that, you know, that's starting, and I'm coming off the bench. And, like, you know what? I never understood it until, I don't know if it was late in the year, or I don't know if it was like really actually years later. But, you know, sometimes I would try to be late to games because I wasn't starting. And like then after a while, I got used to being on the bench, but I never knew it until, like, Claude used to tell people. He said, I brought him off the bench because when he came, he talking about the game would be here, and he said when I come in the game, it just takes it up a notch. But I never knew it because he never told me that. I never knew that that's why he brought me off the bench.
So it went up a small notch or a big notch?
Well, I'm gonna say I'm gonna leave that alone. We just gonna leave it as he said it went up.
Why can't you comment it? Because look, I'm only messing with you because
I know you messing with me. That's why I answered.
You was like, yeah, you know, the game be here. And today you modest because the camera out. You modest on camera. You was like, yeah, it went here. If that camera wasn't rolling, you'd be like, yeah, you know, he would say, I was hit. The game was here, but I would take it here. That's what you usually do.
No, not that much. I'm not gonna say that much. Yeah. But you know, it was just nice to hear that. But like I'm saying, I never knew that, and that's why he did it. You know, that's why he did it. Like I knew I was always gonna be I was gonna be in the game at the end of the game. I always knew that anyway. I mean, I always was there, but I didn't know why I went from starting to not starting.
Mm-hmm. You took that personal. You ever think about asking him beforehand?
No.
Because how old were you? You probably young, 16, 15?
17, like 16, 17 then, because that was like my senior year.
Yeah, that's before you kind of go through that maturity. Most people go through that maturity stage of being able to approach people and have, you know, pretty confrontational conversations. You know, just kind of put it out in the air.
Well, you know, one too much. You're gonna go back and say the Claude.
Oh yeah, I forgot. I forgot who Claude was.
It wasn't too much. You're gonna go back and say.
You want to tell people what
and
Claude was like?
You know, his son actually subscribed to us, and I seen him say some things on Facebook and all about it. You know.
Shout out to Claude Gross.
Yeah, because I think Wilt's birthday was, you know,
yesterday.
Claude Gross was Wilt Chamberlain's brother-in-law. You know, Wilt's birthday was the other day. I can't remember, like maybe Wednesday or something like that. You know.
That sounds about right. This week has kind of flown by for me, so I can't. My days are all over the place, to be honest. I know today though is Friday. It's the end of my work week. But if you listen to this, it's Sunday, because you know we always drop them new episodes on Sunday mornings.
That's right.
Right?
Communicate. Letting them know.
Gotta let them know all the time. Yeah. You gotta communicate and let people know to share the show. It's important.
Right. And like we ask everybody, just try to get one person. If you get one person to check the show out, you know, and hopefully they may like it and they'll get a person to check it out.
Question for you. Well, I got two things. All right, I'm going to ask you one thing first and then we're going to get to the other one.
Can you ask two questions at one time?
Man, can you make two shots at the same time?
No.
No, because, well, actually you can.
No.
You want to know how
Yeah.
you can?
Yeah.
All right, so the rim on a basketball court, right, is big enough, like the circumference is large enough that you can fit two basketballs in at the same time, believe it or not. You can. So if you shoot perfectly, right, you can make two baskets at the same time. Or even if you want to climb up on a ladder and drop two, it's possible. So yes, you can make two baskets at the same time.
Okay.
Booyah!
So what basketball game you gonna be playing in where they got two basketballs on the court at the one time?
It's in practice. It's in practice.
Huh?
It's in practice. It's warm-ups.
So you
don't just have to make baskets in a game, Dad. You make baskets pre-game at the playground. No whistles, no referees. There are drills you do to have multiple balls. Thanks for trying me. You just got owned.
I got owned?
Yeah.
Okay, I want to see you make two baskets.
All I gotta do is hit the layup.
Okay.
I'm gonna climb up on a ladder and drop them in the easy way.
See, that's not you doing it. You
that is me doing it.
You gotta use a ladder and something.
But that's still me doing it.
Okay.
You gonna take this L?
Huh?
You taking this
I'm gonna take that L. I know how to back off and let you be right. Until you make two baskets in a game.
I see. I didn't say in the game to begin with.
But I was talking about the game.
No. You said. I said, can you make two baskets at the same time?
Let's break it down and let's communicate.
Let's be very clear.
Yes.
Be very clear.
I'm talking about making two baskets in a game.
So you're saying, is it possible to make in what kind of game, sir?
In a basketball game.
What kind of basketball game?
In an organized game.
Organized game. We talking 1-on-1, 2-on-2.
Organized game is with 5 people, really. Now you could say
5 people now.
10. It's 5 on each team on the floor at one time. One basketball.
All right, there you go. One basketball. Because I was saying I can make up my own game, own basketball game with my own rules and have 5 balls out there if I wanted to. We gonna have a one ball to 2 player ratio.
Is that a real game?
If I make it a real game, it's real. If you can get out there and play it physically, it's real.
So you're gonna change the game of basketball?
The game of basketball is forever changing, sir.
So I haven't seen an NBA game that's been played with 2 basketballs yet.
Not
I
yet.
haven't seen a college game that was played with 2 basketballs.
Who said
yet.
it's not coming though?
I don't know about what's coming.
Okay then.
I might not even be here when that comes.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to play that, to be honest. But you tried it.
Huh?
I think I'm taking a W.
You know what? You know what? I know that we're going away from things. You know, I meant to say something to you too. You know, when we were talking about Westbrook and Harden playing together.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, I do think that it can be done. And some reason why I was thinking about that at one time. Because, you know, like I said, but somebody got to humble themselves.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that somebody, because, like, you know what, coming up at times, you know, we had people that played together like that. You know.
The thing that I think a lot of people overlook is the relationship those 2 guys have. You know, I think if you're balling with one of your closest friends, you know, even if you play similar styles, you find a way to kind of make it work, right? And, like, I look at me and Steve when we were playing in our summer leagues and then when we got to high school, we both were probably 2 ball-dominant people, right? But because we looked out for each other, you know, we looked out for each other on the court as well. So I knew especially their 1-2 punch, right? That's another thing. It's like if one, we're tight, then 2, we're the only thing this team got going, you know, for the most part. Along with some role players. I'm not going to discredit anybody on that team because I'm a huge fan of that team. I think it can work. They're going to find a way to work together.
I hope so. You know, like, I really kind of hope so. But it was some reason why, and I meant to say this to you one day, because one day I thought of, I can't remember the exact thing that I was thinking that I wanted to say. But I guess, too, you know what, like you said, like, the relationship they had, I don't know how the relationship was when they left that team.
I think it was fine. Like, when you look at them in Team USA or All-Star weekend festivities, they're always pretty tight.
Oh, they are?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. See, that's what I'm saying. See, the other thing is, like, you know what? Sometimes you always got to deal with the media.
Yeah, they can
or something like
divide
that.
you.
Right.
Or they just try to. They gotta make it interesting, right?
Yeah.
So it's something, you know, we oftentimes we don't recognize that our view on things is a little bit slanted. Like, we don't know the ins and outs. We only know what we see.
From the
so
outside.
we have limited.
We looking from the outside in.
Right.
You know.
We not talking to Russ and Harden.
Right.
We don't know how they really feel.
Right. And you know what? You got to think they feel some kind of way for them to get together to play together. So you know
they're happy about it. Like, they've been open. Like, we gonna find a way to make this work. Even if it's not from the jump. Like, they say, like, we'll figure it out.
Right. Because like I said, they was some kind of way. And who say each of them not willing to humble themselves? You know. So,
I honestly think it's going to come down to coaching. I just don't think Mike D'Antoni is the right coach for any playoff team, to be honest. His systems aren't built for the playoffs. You just look at last year when they got knocked out. I'll say it time and time again. James Harden going 1-on-5 isn't going to win you a championship.
No.
He can't make that many shots. You just can't do it.
No.
And as a defense, if a guy going to go 1-on-5 and we can basically play a 1-2-2 zone, I'm living because I'm resting. I got 24 seconds of rest.
Yeah.
That means I'm only playing half the minutes I'm actually out there. If I'm out there for 30 minutes, I really played for 15 because when I was on defense, I just had to go stand down on the block or on the wing.
Yeah, you can get rest.
Yeah.
You know what? I always used to tell people, like, one thing they always said to me, I always could get rest on defense.
Well, that's because you were like James Harden and didn't play defense.
No.
If you was like me, I was like Kawhi. I strapped up.
I was just You could only scrap up so much.
I was like Gary Payton.
If your man got you on the other side of the court, what you gonna do?
Did you not guard point guard?
Huh?
See, I guarded point guards all my life.
I guarded point guards too. But once they give up the ball and go through, what you gotta do? And see, you know what? Like my coach taught us early, if the ball on one side, then you could cheat to that side.
Yeah, you don't play the man.
You don't have to play the man all close to the man. Because the man got to go to the ball or the ball got to come to him.
I always tell our guys, don't hug. Why you hugging? Yeah. Like the ball on the left wing, you in the right corner. Like you just opening up a back door. Like slide over here and stand on this block. Then you got to show them. Like if I throw a pass, I let my players know. You know, we talk about clue words. I'm like, you're athletic enough to get there. Sure. Then they believe like, oh yeah, I'm super athletic. Then sometimes you gotta reel them back in because they think they can go too far and cheat. And then they throw. You play against some teams, they got some shooters. The skip pass, 3-pointer, bang.
And another thing, like when you were saying, and see you young, you still like playing basketball. So, and we were talking
still get buckets.
And we still talking about like communicating. Sometimes, you know what, as a coach, what about the coach when he get out there and show how to play defense? Or say this is the way that I'm saying that you got to play, and guard the man. Or you know what, you got to pass the ball and cut through. Just go out there and show something.
Mm-hmm. Demonstrate.
Demonstrate. With that, but see that they go that two-way communicating again.
Mm-hmm.
There it go.
Yeah. So the other side of communication, you know what that is, right?
What's that?
Listening, baby. You gotta be able to listen.
Yeah, you got to.
That is an undervalued asset for sure.
Yeah, you gotta listen.
So you gotta make sure, like sometimes too, I'll say like the biggest thing with listening at times is something that's difficult, but sometimes you gotta try to remove emotion, really try to get the message, because that person, like I said, they might not always be thinking about how you might perceive it, they're just saying it. So sometimes you gotta recognize that, okay, I wish person A was thinking more about how they're talking to me and how I would, perceive what they're saying, but today they're not. And so, you know what? This is gonna be hard. Let me fight this battle, but let me just try to listen to the message that they're saying, not so much how they're saying it. Although the how is important, but at the end of the day, you want to try to get that message. And if you're hashing something out, that's your buddy. Gonna be buddies after this. Let's just try to get on the same page. So let me try to hear you out.
You know what's funny about that?
What's funny about that?
I remember sometimes when I would try to get something through to somebody. Sometimes, and like when you're saying how they perceive you, sometimes I would have to get somebody else to go to that person and tell them. They'll listen to somebody else a little bit more than they would listen to me because of our relationship. Mm-hmm. But somebody else that they can have, and they can go say the same thing to them and make them understand what I'm trying to say.
You want to hear something funny? So Dr. Anderson, right, so I went, did a visit to Penn. I think I did it overnight, but I think when it came time for me to really make the decision and decide if I wanted to try to go to an Ivy League or, like that, it was just, I got a little bit scared, right? Because it was like, yo, this is going to be a much different environment for me, right? I went from being, big fish in a small pond to invisible fish in the ocean, But, Doc would always encourage me because he believed in me, right? But he would also send other people my way who have kind of been in that position before. Right. Like he sent one of our deans to me, and she talked to me one day and basically told me how she had the opportunity to do the same. She basically was in the same seat. She didn't choose to go to the Ivy League school for similar reasons. Just that fear of not knowing. But, she told me it was one of her biggest regrets. And I knew it was a great opportunity I had, but sometimes you got to overcome. You got to grow, right? You got to take a chance. You got to, just go for it at times. And I think Doc was just a little worried that his voice wasn't enough. Right. Even though I trusted his opinion, really value what he had to say a lot. He had to send someone else my way. But it was interesting you brought up that point, because that was the second thing I wanted to ask you. We can get ready to wrap up with this, but what do you think are the keys to communicating with someone that's kind of going down the wrong path a bit? Because they don't want to hear you tell them what they should be. You know, sometimes you got a little pushback. So what you think?
You got to do it with your actions. And you got to talk more. You can talk to them, but you got to be doing the right thing for them.
So lead by example?
You got to lead by example. You know, and the only reason I say something like that because of my addiction. And then when I started to get clean. And, you know, and then trying to help somebody. Like, I remember, like, you know what? Like, people, you could talk to a person all day, and if that person really ain't ready, you just gotta keep doing what you're doing and do the right thing. And you gotta show him, then he may see how good your life is. You know, and that's the thing in recovery. Like, people doing bad, and then, like, you know what they always say? Man, that person's still getting high. He's still doing this. He's faking. Until they start being around and seeing more. Then when you start doing things, you start seeing how good that feel. Now, like that feeling, you know what? Like, I never knew how good it really felt to not get high until after I stopped getting high and I started hanging around people that was going down the right road. And that's back to what we said last week, and I'm probably going to leave it. You can't have one foot in and one foot out. Mm-hmm. You know, you can't. So you just got to keep on leading by example. Now, you still can talk to that person and tell that person something, but you still got to do more by leading by example.
What if you're in two different realms? So, like, take, for instance, if I have a player who really isn't focused in the classroom, kind of gets in trouble outside of the gym. When he's in practice and stuff, he's great, right?
Right.
But how do I talk to him about
the classroom? About the classroom?
Take the classroom, for instance.
Okay. All right, take me, for example. I remember when I was going to junior high school, I used to hooky school. I used to, and not real hooky, cut class, do whatever I did. But you know what? I wanted to play basketball. And one day, my coach caught me. Now, I got away a few times. But one day, he caught me and had to slip and said, "Oh, you ain't coming to school today. You can't go play basketball." So, after that day, it made me go to school. It made me go to school all the time.
But what about when the season ends? Because that's another challenge we face. You know, you get guys where you can give them the incentive during the year, right? Where it's like, yo, if you want to be on this team, you got to go to class, pass, which at Master you got to have a 76 or above versus, you know, most schools. And, you know, also behavior got to be on point. You can't have a lot of disciplinary actions. But once that season ends, what's that incentive now? So what are your thoughts on how to battle that? How do you keep that guy invested? Because at the end of the day, you want them to do well in there for them, their future, for their sake.
You know, we want them to do better in school. Mm-hmm. Like with you, like when I always said you, it wasn't about you playing sports. It was about you doing good in school. You know, but see, the best thing is you got to try to put some people, positive people, in his way. You got to try to get him to try to be with them instead of being with the people that gonna tear him down. Mm-hmm. And you got to talk to him, and you probably got to tell him the difference. Like when you know that some people is bad for him, you got to tell him they gonna get you in trouble, and you gotta be straight. Now it's gonna be his choice at the end anyway. But then, like, you know what? You just gotta hope that he understand that and he don't want that life no more.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a big year for us too, because we lost a lot of guys. Like, a lot of guys graduated, right? Mm. So we're going to have to, it's going to be a bit of a rebuild year, I think. But I think it's going to be a little bit of a shift. So the last 3 years I've been coaching there, we've been led by our big guy. Mm. I think now it's changing back to passing the torch to the guards, right? So, you know, we got, I'll say 2 guards and a wing coming back that I think are going to be really good for us. Right. But we got to kind of not rebuild the culture, but we got to spread it out a little bit more, because we're going to have a lot of new faces in the gym. So when thinking about that, we got to make sure that we, pass along that, like positive characteristics, habits, and instill those in our culture, make them a big part of who we are, so that the new guys kind of grab onto that and they see like, this is the standard if I want to be here. Right. And, it starts from the top, definitely. It's going to be on me and Dev to kind of pass that down. Although part of it's already there with our returning guys. It's just, I'm looking forward to it. I like the challenge. It's a great challenge to have. And I'm going to meet a lot more, young guys this year. Which is, something that I'm very passionate about. This is a sad moment, Dad. You know why?
It's time to give it up.
Time to go. Time to go. Bounce. But thank y'all as always for listening. If you haven't already, share this episode with how many people you want them to share with, Dad?
I want them to share it with many as they can. But, at least try to have one subscribe to our show or something like that.
All right, so he's saying you can send it in the message, but we want them to actually go through and hit that subscribe button. So you hold them accountable. Be like, yo, send me a screenshot back with that subscribe button hit, so I know it's real. But all right, we got to get out of here again. Yo, follow us on our Instagram. Oh yeah, I updated the Instagram page.
Oh, you did?
We are at the No Stopping Kev Show now. Before we just No Stopping Kev Show. Threw the in there just because it's pretty. That's what you're going to type, right? So yeah, thank y'all for listening to the No Stopping Kev Show. We'll be back again next Sunday, bright and early, people. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you got your notifications set up so it just pops right up on your phone. Because I know you flipping it over when you wake up. But yeah, we're going to see y'all again. We out.
Peace.